From an undisclosed cornfield in the Midwest United States, this is the Rev Report.
Also, just a quick note from the producer here. Apologize we're a little bit late today, everybody. Something blew up outside the production studio, and I still have no idea what.
It was loud, folks. Very loud, folks. Yeah, well, fuck them. It's the Red Bear here for your Friday the 13th. That's why I'm wearing the mask. Because some people out there think that if I wear the mask, they'll give me 24 more views. So therefore, what the heck? It's Friday the 13th. I'm giving you what you would like the Friday the 13th. If you've had a bad day, I mean, we had an explosion at the studio now. We've had major bikers and stuff outside. And why does people go to Golden Corral? That's what the deal is. Why is people going to a lot of Golden Corral? Anyways, on the Wendy's thing here, folks. Wendy's, okay. Are we broadcasting on stream, MA? Yes, we are. I think we are. Okay. Oh, yes. So, what's really going on, folks, is that in a lot of cities like here in Cleveland, Ohio, they are raising the level of minimum wage to $15 an hour. So if you're working at like Special K Mart or Walmart or the Subway store or the Super Bin Mark, or you're a janitor, or you go out there and you work at the New Jack Casino, you get $15 an hour. But in Wendy's, they said that they're going to bring these robots out here, folks. These robots that will actually like take your order and cook your food. So if you piss off the robot, he'll give you 2 patties instead of 1. Oh, it'd be terrible, folks. So what's going on is that they're trying to robotic the society. Like this right here, folks, you know what this is here? This is the mark of the beast. And what you'll do is you'll order your meal on your cell phone, and this machine that you see right here will actually make your food. Telling me that the pharmaceutical companies will probably do something to these machines to give you more pharmaceutical stuff. It'll be amazing, folks, that amazed that you don't get poisoned at Wendy's anymore. At Wendy's, you get it your way, right? Or Fried way or my way. What is the motto, Chunk? What is their Wendy way? Wendy's always good? I don't know. But anyways, it's just, But folks, do you think El Chapo would like a Wendy's burger from a machine? Yes, folks, the update of El Chapo. El Chapo, the Mexican drug lord. Yes, folks. What happened with El Chapo this week is he got transferred to a new maximum security prison on the border of Mexico and Texas, where he has a dirt floor, and that he said that he wants Clorox bleach so that he can bleach himself, because he's dirty. Now, this gentleman tried to break out of jail this week. That I heard from my railroad workers, that they said that he tried to break out of jail, but apparently they got him again. And they are now possibly... So what happens is the elaborate tunnel system that this man built, it's like a little motorcycle down in this tunnel, that they literally bought some property right over there by the jail. I think it was like about a mile away, and they dug this tunnel, which took them like at least a couple weeks, months, maybe a year to dig this, and then they put like a little like buggy in there, and so that he could get away. And then like he basically, like, obviously there's like billions and billions of dollars that this gentleman has and being paid off, that like everybody like actually likes him apparently, but our government don't like him because obviously he hasn't paid his tax to the new world order. And it's terrible that El Charo, man, has he actually like involved in going into these underground tunnels where they bring in all this massive amount of marijuana and cocaine as well as heroin. I think it's mostly marijuana that they bring through these tunnels. They found them as long as 2 to 3 miles long in Arizona. The longest one they've ever found was I believe, almost 2.5 miles long underneath the border. Now, do you think Trump? What would Trump do? Like, let's get that out. What would Trump do? What would he do with this man? I believe that he would probably uh, uh, find him, possibly put him on as a informant, and say, "Dude, El Charo, you work for me now, and you're going to tell me all the CIA bullshit, guys, that you're dealing with, because obviously they're dealing with El Charo's dealing with the CIA, because the CIA has taken billions of money from drug lords so that they can fund their black NASA operations. So I believe that possibly El Charo would be put in a nice prison as long as El Charo gives him all the money that he needs to build his wall. That's how he built the wall. He'll take it from El Charo. If you ever watch that show, what's that one show? See, there's the map. That's how long. That's how long this tunnel is that he built. It's an amazing long tunnel, folks. But what would you do? I mean, what would Trump do? Now Trump has now said that he's got this candidate that he's going to pick for he's going to pick for he's going to pick I think. Well, should we go to the fires now? Should we go to the fires now? The fires. Okay, the fires. Is that what we're going to, a chunk? The fires? Okay. What happened is in the fires up there in Calgary, they had in Fort Myers, is it Meyer? Fort Myers, I believe. Fires. Fort Myers. The fire at one point was as big as 2 New York cities. 2 New York cities. It engulfed a Super 8 motel while the guy was filming it, and the fire on both sides were completely engulfing this highway, and there was traffic going down the highway while the cops are trying to like get the people to stop going through the. Literally, truckers are going through flames, folks, flames of fire. Then there was a couple videos that I've watched where these people are like trying to escape the flames and literally driving through hell. I mean, fire on both sides, wicked flames. One guy was in a motorcycle. One guy was in a BMW SRX. That's something that our producer should have is a BMW. GoFundMe now or something like that. Like, go get Chunk a BMW so that he could actually drive through these flames. That was pretty. But anyways, it's so unbelievably hot there that this guy's paint was melted on his car. The fires in Calgary. Who really lit these fires? Okay, there's oil. This is a very oil-rich town. And Chunk, what is your opinion on that again? On the fires that you were thinking about?
Well, we have seen plenty of events like this in the past. I mean, not necessarily a false flag event because it's clearly a real fire, eh? But just these events that are meant to distract us from main things that are going on. And it's more or less trying to figure out exactly what they want to distract us from. Like, is it something particularly going on in the Canadian government? Is it something here that's going on in our government, trying to distract us from our own election going on? You know, it's just like kind of a hark back to the BP oil spill. You know, back when they were distracting us from, what was that? The Obama, what was it? That Fast and Furious that they were really trying to distract us from back then.
Exactly. And so with these fires and everything, the similar fires happened in a place called Mel's Hole. Mel's Hole had a series of fires back in the 80s, and this gentleman named Mel, and it was in the 90s. He called into a show called Coast to Coast Radio with a gentleman named called Art Bell. And Mel said that he found this hole in his backyard, or in his property. He bought this property about 2 years in. He found this hole. The people that live around there said that there was actually obelisks that looked like Stonehenge around this hole, and it had brick lining. It had an elliptical, perfect. It was 15 feet wide. So Mel decides, oh, okay, let's start throwing things down. So he starts throwing bricks and rocks and a refrigerator, a stove, half of a car, and proceeded to keep the neighborhood brings different kinds of things. They threw a dead dog down there, cattle, and when the dog went down there, the hunting dog died. They threw the dog down there. Well, like about a week later, the hunter was out hunting in the woods and he saw his dog again. It was alive. So there was like this really weird paranormal thing started happening around the hole. Anything they were throwing into it, some of it was like reappearing, like anything that was dead would come alive. So then he got like 20-pound test, and supposedly he put like I think he did like six, like supposedly I heard it was like 4 miles down worth of yarn or of tests. He put enough tests that he couldn't put any more down, and he weighed it. And he's calling Art Bell, and he's telling him, I got this hole, and it's amazing, and I want to get it on the Guinness Book of World Records. And I mean, if you ever just check in Mel's Hole on Art Bell and listen to it, well, what happens is after he hangs up, and they proceed to like give emails. He was faxing at the time, and there's a part two where once the Art Bell show got out, the government came in and took over the land and told him that he couldn't have his land, but there was a real estate broker that calls him up and said, we would like to buy your land. Your land wasn't for sale, but the government was going to pay him $250,000 a month and relocate him to Australia. Down in Australia, supposedly he found some other hole down there, and he had some weird scheme. He didn't last in Australia very long, and he came back to his property to find out that they had a gigantic lab up there. This is DOD. He said it was Department of Defense and a biologistic laboratory type group was up in there. Okay, they were like up in the location, and he tried to walk up on his property multiple times, and there was armed guards. So he called into Art Bell, and he was telling him all this sad story about how he couldn't get back on his property and everything, and that they told him that if he did, they were going to kill him. He did get up onto the property one time, and he said they built a building over the hole. As a crane inside, a small crane inside. And he said it was some kind of capsule that they brought in, and this capsule was not hooked to a rope or anything, and it went into the hole. He snuck in there and he saw that the capsule got dropped into the hole with people in it. Many people actually called in and wanted to be like dropped into the hole willingly. And so what this brings back is Val Thor, this guy named Valiant Thor. Valiant Thor was a gentleman. He had a crew of about, I believe, 25 in his cabinet that came from Saturn. Saturn. He had his original place is, I believe, Venus, which is Venus is the one the next from us to the sun, and they live in the atmosphere in the inner part of Venus. Valiant Thor is a robotic, genetically made human god. Basically, their god made Valiant Thor. And Valiant Thor is basically human and everything, but they kind of made him. He had a weird belly button. He was male. I wish I could show you a picture at another time. He met with different groups, and then he started meeting with the Pentagon. And he met with the Pentagon, and I believe that was in the mid '80s. I believe it was like early '80s. I believe it was when it was. I know it was when Nixon and Eisenhower were in office. He was around then. A gentleman called Dr. Stranges met with him, and I believe it was close to 1980, and met with him, and Valiant Thor landed his ship in Virginia, near the battleground, some battleground that he landed at. And his ship was, a good mile and a half wide by about half a mile tall, and it was invisible. And he landed, and he got onto the ship, Doctor Strange's, and he met with. There's actually a movie about this, small movie as well, and he met with Valiant Thor's crew, and Valiant Thor's crew was talking about how they do believe in the Lord, they do believe in God, and a Jesus-like person did come to the earth. And he really informed him about the Holy Spirit and everything, about what they believe. And Val Thor said that I'm not like all of you. And Valiant Thor was is extremely smart, like probably the smartest human that has ever walked the planet. The Black Hats got a hold of him in about, I think it was 1980, and Valiant Thor was tried to they were trying to brainwash him. So Doctor Strange's met with them twice on the ship, and the second time Doctor Strange's had to take a dump. So Doctor Strange says, "Well, how do I go? How do I go to the bathroom?" And he's like, "Go into these doors." And he went through this bright room, and there's this nice commode, and he sat on there and he did his business. And then he's like, "You got to push these buttons to have your legs down there, your buttocks cleaned it." And all the first it sprayed air, and then it sprayed like a water mixture, and then it sprayed this weird buffing sensation, and then it powdered his balls and his butt. I mean, he said it was the most amazingest thing he's ever had in his entire life. Like Doctor Strange's love would he actually wrote an entire chapter about how he went to the bathroom there, and he said that he never had chapped balls again, and he the whole thing cured his IBS. He had stomach problems. They just by going in this room, it healed him. And they took him back to Salt Lake, Nevada, I believe, out that way. And Doctor Strange's was dropped off, and a gentleman from Doctor Strange's was a teacher. I think it was his wife to be, and another guy met him out there, and they got on the ship for a little bit, and then Doctor Strange's went home, and that was the last time they ever saw Valiant Thor. Valiant Thor was a man that is said to be still out in Salt Lake. His ship has been seen over Salt Fork, Ohio as well. There was a sighting not too long ago in the Ohio region of a Valiant type Thor ship. So Valiant Thor has 120 ships. He monitors the souls that leave the planet, apparently, the energy force when you pass away, whatever. He monitors all this. He talks about how the collector has a collection where they collect your souls around the planet, and he's part of this collection of energy and souls, and trying to bring a good word. But he says that there's the darkness, and that there's the light, and then there's the Black Hats, and he was explaining that there's a force of 3 on the planet, and there's another force of 3, good and evil, and the darkness, and they're all fighting constantly on this planet. And he was tired of trying to help anybody more, so he just monitors, and he now meets with UFO groups that are off the beaten path. And I met a lady named Peggy, and she got in touch with Doctor Strange's wife. Dr. Strange's wife sent us a bunch of information about his books and everything, and actually gave us some information how to actually contact Valiant Thor. And it was a very weird way how we had to do it. I'm not really going to explain how we did contact Valiant Thor, but we are going to get probably a message from him, apparently, here pretty soon. So there's a guy that is running for president. His name is Vermin Supreme. Is that how you say it, Chunk? Vermin Supreme? Vermin Supreme. Vermin. Vermin, well, he's not your average candidate. He's, I believe, a veteran of some sort. And he wears a boot on his head. And he's a libertarian candidate for president. And he has many different views, especially making sure that you have the gun rights. And it says here, I'm going to have to move you over here. And I'll move you over there. It says putting a free pony in every garage. You want to put a free pony in everybody's garage, but he admits he has an idea more workable than Bernie and has a few FBI agents looking into him on the Hillary files and people that don and are perfect counterbalance of the whole Johnny McCaff far cry from Supreme billing thing. We aren't going to get into a bizarre range of wardrobes and merchandise abilities, though he has trigger of D in most of the footage, which is something. This man, you definitely want to check him out. Vermin is a libertarian candidate. Well, check out the videos that he has posted. I will actually post it on the Rev report, and I'll try to post some of it on ChunkTVLive if I can. It's just, you'll really, after you start watching a lot of this stuff, it is pretty funny, but some of the stuff he actually has a pretty good point in it. And he's just a weird but good candidate. Would be a person to be put on the zeitgeist movement of some sort. I believe that would be good. And yes, folks, it's time for the drunk tank. Oh, this is a good one, folks. I think you're gonna might cry about this one. I'm gonna get up here. Okay, I'm going to have to read you this whole to the red bear. Police say a drunken man couldn't wait for the restroom, folks. His name is Randall Hyde. So he urinated in the asset of Family Dollar on Wednesday night. Randall Hyde, 27 of Bath Street, was arrested on charges of disorderly conduct, thief, and public indecency after he walked into a Lake Avenue business, which is right down the road. I mean, literally, I could put my video on there, and relieved himself shortly after 9 p.m. According to Captain Corsisto, a clerk called the police and said a shirtless man was urinating in the store. Police talked to the cashier, who said Hyde had also took a t-shirt from the rack and then put it on. After the clerk approached him, he tried to run out of the store and be stopped by but was stopped by the customers. One of the customers told the officer she actually saw him standing in the side and urinating all over the floor of the store. Hyde admitted everything to the police. He said he had too much to drink and he couldn't hold it anymore. So now Hyde has been taken to jail. Folks, just another day in the Illyria land of Oz. Yes, that's folks. And do we have? Did I miss anything that I could remember? Yes, I really. But next week, folks, we have a dilemma here at the studio. I want to reinvent myself. Therefore, I want to change the Rev report to maybe the Rev Spicy report, the Rev Chunky report.